Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Growing Writers, the program that explores connections between gardening and writing. You'll notice that today I have a prop, at least one here. Uh, it contains my notes for today's program, as well as having a link to a special challenge that today's program includes. So notice, first off, that a piece of writing that I have on here can serve more than one purpose. So remember that about your writing. It can serve more than one task. Okay. So you might remember that last time I introduced or reintroduced the idea of essential questions for writing. What are you writing and for whom? What's the central purpose of that piece of writing? And lastly, which gives the best room for creativity and experimentation, how can I best shape that writing for that purpose and that audience? So here's a new ingredient in our programs. This is a challenge, a writing challenge for you, and we'll start off fairly simply, although some of you may find it more challenging than others. And the offering is that you write a letter, a personal letter to someone you know. It's entirely up to you. You choose who it is. A good friend, maybe who's moved, or maybe who lives next door, or a family member, or some other person of your choice. Okay. So you can apply the writing questions to this. Who are you going to write to? Why that person? It would be fun just to think about that. And what's the main purpose, aside from just meeting my challenge? What could be a reason for writing that particular person? And then lastly, how are you going to shape some of the sentences or the overall letter to reflect that purpose and that person? Okay. And this idea came, by the way, from a friend of ours who received a letter from my wife. My wife, incidentally, is a great letter writer. And he wrote back by email, which is fine. That's good too. But for this challenge, try to use paper and pen. He wrote back, we rarely get letters in the mailbox, and so we'll remember this for quite a while. And I think that's it. I just might mention on the bottom of this stationery, I have a quote. This is my own personal stationery, an excerpt from a writer named Wendell Berry, whom I'll talk about later in another program. And here's the excerpt from a poem. A million leaves, alive in the wind, and what do we know? That's a favorite of mine. A million leaves, alive in the wind, and what do we know? I'd like to offer that you might find out something you know about the person to whom you're writing, or about yourself. That's one of the wonders of writing, is that it's always showing you something about yourself or other people if you're paying attention. And then lastly, you might have been wondering about this plant behind. This is one of our pride and joys. This is the only eggplant that survived the heat this summer. And it's hard to see, but there's one down here, and there'll be about 7 or 8 before we're done. That one is a nice bright royal purple, and it's about the size of my fist. Okay, so that's it for now. Enjoy the letter, and we'll see you next time on Growing Writers. Bye-bye.